There we go. Okay. All right. For the audience that does not know you, Mr. Lathrop, please introduce yourself.
I'm Zach Lathrop, also known as Zach Lath online. I make videos on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube. And yeah, I make funny videos.
So, what's the key to being funny?
I feel like, do you mean like in my videos or just being funny like in general?
Well, what's the difference?
I guess like some of the jokes that I make in videos, I wouldn't like they wouldn't really be funny in real life. I feel like I kind of have a younger audience is something I've seen. And so for videos, my key to being funny is taking like real life things that have happened to me and kind of looking and saying like, okay, like what made this funny? Why is this funny? How can I turn this like into a video? An example is I think a video I made in November. It was like when you're trying to be serious in class and you look at your friend and he's like making a funny face. And I kind of turned that into a video. I had to find an audio for that. And yeah, that was a pretty funny video. Usually I take trends and real life things in my life that have happened that are funny and just kind of turning them into a video, putting like its own individual spin on it. With trends, on the other hand, those are interesting. I know this kind of ties into creativity, but um, I kind of try to look at it from like an outsider's perspective. So I'm not thinking like what I would think would be a good idea. I try to think like if I'm scrolling on the For You page, what's a video that I would comment on? What's a video that I would send to my friend? What's a video I would laugh at? And then I kind of try to incorporate that into trends. Like that allows me to be pretty creative because it allows me to be really vague and just let my mind travel. So I feel like the key to being funny is kind of trying not to force it and trying to take like the real life aspect of like a joke or something that might make you laugh and encapsulating that into a video.
So, with that being said, like, what does your creative process look like? When you're trying to formulate some of these ideas, does it just come to you naturally? I know we were just talking about Evan. Oh, OK, Kron, and he was talking about how his ideas will just come to him, right? So, how do your ideas come to you in the shower, like writing them down?
Yeah, like I would say all over the place. My greatest and best ideas have come when I'm folding my laundry or I'm in the shower or I'm just doing homework. And that's really hard. I've kind of studied like subconscious thinking and how I can, get my mind into that state like as much as I can. And it's hard like as I've thought of so many ideas. Um, and some ideas, I try to brainstorm often, but most of the time they just come to me like throughout the day. Like I'll be sitting there in class and I'll just say, like current trends, like I'll write down current trends like in a note page and I'll just jot down ideas and then I'll try to tie it all together and throughout the day I'll be like thinking about those ideas and then I'll mix them into an idea. And recently it hasn't been like, I'll just think of an idea like out of nowhere. I haven't really been like that recently. But, part of that is like trusting in myself and not forcing anything. Um, Yeah, so I think I said this before, but kind of, looking from an outside perspective and saying like, okay, like what's something I have laughed at? What's something like that I think the viewer's gonna laugh at or comment or share? And I kind of just try to tie that into, current trends or like interests that I have, like sports or memes or video games or stuff like that. So, yeah, it's my creative process.
Well, you mentioned that you tend to base your humor around other people. Do you ever feel that like that affects you in real life, like in the day-to-day conversations that you're having with people? Because I feel like if I was always thinking like, what are other people finding funny, I would start to like subconscious, like what you're saying, like subconsciously, I would begin to factor that into the way that I talk to people normally.
I feel like I've always been like that. I mentioned this like before we started the call, but I used to make sports videos. And, as I was talking to Evan, I was like, I'm a faceless channel. like I built up 90,000 followers on my old like username, only making sports videos, and I never really showed my face. And I was like, okay, like if I really, I was thinking about the future, and like if I really want to build my name and my image, um, I'm gonna have to show my face and start making different videos. And then he was like, yeah, go for it. Like good videos will always be shown to people. And I feel like how I've always been is I always like try to make people laugh, like whether I'm with my friends or I'm at like a family dinner. So I feel like I've always naturally been like that. Like I'm always trying to twist something that someone says to make a funny joke out of it, or, trying to make my friends laugh in a serious situation. So yeah, I don't think it's really affected me. I feel like I've always kind of been like that. And over time, I've tried to, whenever something funny happens, I always just like naturally think about like, oh, how can I make a video about this?
Well, with that being said, like, and I'm sure that you've experimented a little bit with your content in the past. How do you determine what really doesn't work? Because I mean, there's things that might work well, but maybe don't work that well, right? And how do you differentiate between like how do you identify a problem or an issue, and how do you make an improvement from like a decent video and make it even better? Because like up to a certain point, you're kind of struggling to find where the problem might be. I feel like.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think, you might have seen my videos when I first started my account, but I used to always do like rankings. I would always like, oh, rank something or rank this, and I've kind of tried to stray away because that kind of just got, dull and repetitive. And something I've kind of done is instead of like ranking things, I've kind of tried to add a different twist, and I'll say like, if you don't get a 6 out of 6, then you have to get a job, or like something funny that's captivating and engaging, and kind of I feel like there's infinite possibilities to do with that. And kind of going from like just like listing things like, oh, here's, ranking this, from going to, something more captivating and, kind of engaging the audience, and like asking them a question instead of just saying, okay, here's the ranking. Instead, I'm just, asking them a question and kind of getting like more of a reaction out of them. And to go off of, um, do you mean like a problem like with views, or just like a problem with like a single video in general?
Well, views is a great metric, I would say, for how a video is. So I would say, let's say one video gets 10,000 views and another gets 50,000 views. You might think that one video is doing better, and then you make another video that's like slightly different, like, and it might get like 1 million views, and like you don't really know why. Like, how do you identify, what was really different and where to make an improvement and how?
This can kind of be like a, what's it called? I'm trying to think of a word for this. Gosh, can't think of a word for this. Like a, um, I don't know what word I was gonna say. Um, hmm. All right, well, I forgot the word that I was gonna say, but something I always like to do is I feel like TikTok, especially, tends to push out videos that are like trend related more. So I've had videos that, so stats that I like to go off of are like watch time, watch percentage, comments, shares, engagement. Those are like all the stats that make up a good video. And I feel like, if I'm just making like a general like comedy video, it's more like general, and it can have a bigger explosion and get shown to more people, as opposed to like a trend-based video might only, it's kind of like a niche-based video, and it might only get shown to a certain amount of people. So I feel like if I want videos to like really blow up, I kind of just have to focus on, general aspects of life, and kind of, just come up with videos, creative ideas like out of nowhere almost. Whereas if I want to get, if I'm saying, okay, I want to get 100, 2,000, 100,000, 200,000 views on this video, I'll try to incorporate like a trend or like a current meme to try to get like that baseline of views. So that's kind of how I differentiate, like, why did this video only get 50,000 and it had good stats, as opposed to like a video that, got 1 million views. And I feel like something with TikTok also is like searchable content. So if there's like a big meme, I'll take like, the keyword or like the word revolving around that topic and I'll put it in like the caption. And then when people search for like that popular term, like my video will be like one of the top ones. So that'll kind of give it like a baseline of views, but also the possibility of it blowing up is lower.
Well, let's talk about how. I mean, you mentioned you're a senior in high school. So am I. You're I think at this point either the second or third person I've had on is the same age as me, which I find funny. But with that being said, you know, how do people treat you at school? Like, because we were talking a little bit before. It's kind of negative, it's kind of positive. Like for the most part, positive it seems. But I want it in your own words. Like, how is that? Like, tell me some of the stories you're telling me before the show.
So most of the kids that I'm a senior in high school, so most of these kids that I go to school with, they've known me my whole life and they don't, treat me any different. They just treat me, I feel like some people, I could just be speculating, but I feel like they kind of have, they just think I'm weird because, I make videos and they don't talk to me anymore because I make videos that I'm weird. But, I've always been the same kid. I just chose to, express myself online. And for the kids younger than me, um, it's pretty cool because like most of my fans are usually like I think, younger, maybe like freshmen, sophomores in high school. So I've had a lot of kids like come up to me saying like, "Oh, I see you on Instagram Reels," or like, "Oh, you're at the Vexbolts event." So I think that's pretty cool. I personally don't think of myself as like a celebrity because I've only been doing this for like a year and a half. But it's pretty cool to have kids like recognize me off of, just making videos. So I wouldn't, I don't think of myself any differently, but like some of these younger kids treat me like, oh, I'm your biggest fan. It's just like a crazy thing, like that I have fans. I don't know, just like crazy thought.
I mean, I don't have the same numbers as you do, but I have had similar experiences. I will say that. For me, it's usually when I get somebody like I remember actually when I had Evan on. There was a kid who came up to me. He's like, "Hey George, I saw you interviewed OK Cron," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I interviewed him. He's a cool kid." There's another guy. I had Tommy G on, and then like that one, there was like a ton of kids. They were like, "Oh, you got Tommy G on." And there's been a few other guys where it's like I had the Game is Game guy, Life and Scars on, and people like that, and people will be like, "What? Like, this is a crazy interview," and I'm like, "Oh, thank you." I try to be humble about it, but like it's a cool feeling.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. So with your experience of it, you do seem to be having like for the most part, like I would say 70% positive. I would say, and like people in your grade are negative about it. Why? Like, do you think some of that comes from jealousy, or because that seems like a weird thing to like not like about somebody that they are popular and making videos? To me, that
I
seems like
wouldn't say, yeah,
yeah.
I wouldn't say that they like don't like me. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people get the impression that it's just like weird. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like hatred, but I feel like a lot of people don't understand it. Like I'll admit, like some of the videos that I make, I think are kind of weird and like funny, but that's kind of part of my account and my humor. And like at this point in my video making career, like I kind of know, like if I post this video, like yeah, it's kind of dumb, but I think it's gonna do really well and it's gonna resonate with my audience. So I kind of just like don't care at that point. Like you can't really argue with numbers, and there are a lot of videos that like I'm really proud of, and then there are videos that I'm not proud of, but it's like you know, oh, I know this video is going to do well, so I'm going to put it out. Like, I don't care what people are going to comment or say to me or stuff like that. So I feel like, a lot of people that have said stuff to me don't really, understand it. And I've been making videos my whole life, and it's something I've always wanted to do. And, they don't know like the 5 months that I would post 3 videos every day and gained, no followers to like now that, a lot of people probably think I just got lucky, but I've been at this since, making 3 videos every day since like August 2023. So yeah, it's just the people close to me know that I'm like the same person, but some people might, get like a different impression of me because I post silly videos on social media. So
Well, I have to ask, has there ever actually I shouldn't say has there ever because there always is with people. It's was do you remember a comment, right? Any comment in particular, right? Whether it's a YouTube comment or even in-person comment, a negative one that you remember in particular. I feel like everybody has that first experience with a hate comment that they always
I
remember.
think yeah, there's a lot. I feel like, when I'm always lacking motivation, there's always hate comments, like especially on Instagram Reels. But I'm trying to think of one that like hit hard to me. Let me think. Um, I guess I'll give an example of one like in person and one like on YouTube. I think one on YouTube, it was like I only have 50,000 subscribers on YouTube, but I have a lot of time, and I think like no doubt if I keep posting, I'll hit like 100K and a million on there one day. But I think I was like, oh, thanks for 50K, guys. 100K by the end of 2025, and then I think I said like 1 million by like 2029, and then someone was like, you're never gonna hit a million. So I kind of just like screenshotted that, and I'm just gonna like keep it in my notes for one day. And I think in person, I'm trying to, it's kind of something like my parents said, like when I had 70,000 followers on TikTok, I just told my mom like I'm gonna go like all in on this. And they still say this. They still think like social media, can't be a real job. And, that you know, kind of hits hard because like they said they would like support me with anything. And I mean, they think it's cool. They support it, but they don't think, I can do it as a full-time job, which is kind of like my dream. So I kind of always use that as like motivation.
Do you ever feel like it's a little bit like what are some of the downsides for you? Like, does it ever feel like a lot to manage? Do you think it's like a walk in the park? Like it's I have such an easy job. Like what? How do you kind of like deal with the struggles of it if there are any?
There definitely are struggles. I would say it's to me, I feel like, and a lot of other content creators, I feel like it's 99% or like 90% mental. Like if I have videos like laid out for the next day, I can knock them out in 2 or 3 hours. But, I've peaked. I've had like really high peaks and like really low falls. And I feel like, oh, I completely lost my train of thought. Um, I completely forgot what I was gonna say. Feel like I've had really high peaks and like really low like falls, and I kind of know that if I keep putting in effort, like it'll all be good. And I kind of try to gauge like not off of my views, but off of like the effort that I put in because like that's what I can control. So for example, if there's like a minute long video that I want to make, but it's going to take like a lot of editing, um, like let's say my views are bad for that day, but I spent 2 hours editing that one video, like I'll be happy with myself because I know, if I keep like not putting off the hard work, then eventually like I'll have a video blow up. And with the stress, I feel like, my mind comes up with the most ideas when I'm not stressed. And when I have videos like planned out for the next day is when my mind is like traveling the most and I'm thinking like of the most ideas. Sorry, I'm talking a lot. Gosh, I gotta drink water. Sorry about that. And like with school, I feel like over the summer 2024, I I had like school baseball in like March, April, May, and I had to manage like schoolwork and homework. And then I went straight to summer where it was just like nothing. And I was like, oh, I really need to lock in like with videos. And like the first 2 months were good, but August videos were the only thing on my mind. And, I got super overwhelmed and videos kind of like consumed me because I had nothing else going on in my life. So school to me is kind of just like a refresher to my brain. It gets my mind off of videos, and it's not healthy, in my opinion, to like only be doing one thing 100% of the time. Like having real life experiences at school with my friends, gives me ideas, it keeps my mind fresh, and I can come home from school every day and, have a fresh mind almost. So I feel like I would rather like have school and homework every day than not.
I just wanted to make sure you were done with that thought.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. No. How how does it feel? Have you ever been recognized outside of school? That's one thing I want to ask you.
Yeah.
With your friends?
Yeah, I was with my friends.
How was that? And how do they react?
So it was pretty cool. I was actually me and my friends did like an indoor flag football league, and I was playing defense, and there were these two like little kids like yelling my name, and I was like, "What do these kids want?" And they're like, "Oh, are you Zach Lath?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." And they're like, "We love your videos," and I was like, "Thanks." Like that's the only time I've been recognized in person, but it was like super cool. I mean, at the Vex Bolts event, some people recognized me, but I was playing flag football with my friends, and two little kids were just like, "Oh, you're Zach Lath. We love your videos." And like, I've never seen those kids in my life, and it was pretty cool. And my friends thought it was pretty cool too.
This is a question I wish I would ask more, but what is the craziest DM that you've ever gotten?
Ooh, I try to just like forget DMs because a lot of it is positive and some of it's negative. I think like I had my Instagram DMs like blocked for a while because there's just like so much hate. Craziest DM? I mean, I probably can't even say it. It's probably just like, I get a lot of crazy DMs. Like, a lot of them are just like really mean and telling me to, I don't know. Yeah, I probably can't even say it. But it's just, a lot of just like shallow insults that are just like, okay, like I've heard that before. So,
Thing
yeah.
things that are described in a three-letter acronym by any chance?
Yeah, I just look at it and I'm like, okay, like it's not that deep to me. Gotten
Listen,
them
they
before.
don't know you. They don't know who you are.
Yeah, it's just
They're
like
just
most of
nameless.
them is because, yeah, of my ranking lists. Like sometimes, I don't know, everyone's gonna have like an opinion when I rank stuff, so it's not that deep and it's just like a video, so I just laugh it off.
Yeah, I mean, listen, people are faceless. Like in the crowd, like those people wouldn't say to your face 90% of the time. So don't even worry about it.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. Well, now with all this being said, considering that you're senior, are you going to go to college? And if so, like, what's the direction there?
Yeah, I am gonna go to college. I'm trying to because I've heard Evan had a roommate that didn't also make videos, and it was kind of difficult for him to make videos. And I've kind of seen like this momentum that I've had, and I'm either going to go to a college like with my friends or get a dorm like by myself. But I definitely want to keep making videos in college. And I feel like I talked about this, but in August, like I feel like if I didn't go to college, I would just go crazy because videos would be the only thing that I think about. So college, I'm gonna try not. I got into some pretty tough colleges, but I'm probably gonna take, or I'm probably gonna pick the college where, schoolwork is important, but I'm still gonna be keeping videos as like my main priority, I feel like. Oh, and I remembered, going back to like one of your other questions about like stress and stuff, and kind of like I've seen myself like peak really high, and it's kind of always wanting to be at that level. But, I kind of understand that I can't always be at that level. And sometimes, there's going to be days where my videos suck or some days where the algorithm like doesn't push out my videos. And, it's kind of tough sometimes because, I've seen like how high my views can get and, how high my followers can get. But, and it kind of sucks when like you're not there because, I know what I'm capable of, which is why I always try to like put in all my effort like at all times. And I just like remember that from a past question. But yeah,
Do you ever? What do you see yourself doing in the next 20 years? Right.
20 years.
Let's actually, you know what? Here, let's start with 5 years first. Maybe that's a little bit simpler. 5 years from now, you're going to be graduating from college, or I'm sorry, you're going to be graduated from college,
Hmm.
because high school ends in like 4 months. So about 5 years, you're going to be You're going to be done with college, right? Which is crazy to think because I'm saying that for myself too. What are you
Yeah.
going to be doing in that time?
I definitely want to do something with videos. I feel like I've learned so much about like the creator space that, nothing else really interests me as much as what I've done with videos. In 5 years, I hope that I can make like YouTube and just social media in general like my full-time job. I don't have to be living in like a crazy mansion. I think if I was doing this full time, I also wouldn't mind, doing another job because I also work at a golf course as my other job. And, I feel like videos don't take up that much time as long as like mentally you're there. So in 5 years, I hope to see myself either working a full-time job and making videos or doing videos. I'll just see, what happens with that. And I want to hit Instagram's a little weird, but I want to hit 1 million on TikTok and YouTube by the time I graduate college. So those are like my long-term goals.
Well, let's say, hypothetically speaking, Instagram. I'm gonna be like really crazy with this. TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube all ban your account. Worst case scenario, doomsday scenario. What next?
I mean, I would just make another account and keep posting, but if you're saying like if I'm not allowed like back on the apps, I mean I've gained like so much experience and I gained like I only started posting on Instagram like April 2024 and I gained like 100K like in my first month there. So I know that I could definitely restart an account. Like it would be really discouraging if any of my accounts got banned, but I kind of have the experience I feel like to build, something up from the ground again, even though it would stink and it would kind of be like a brand new experience. But if like social media were to just get completely wiped off like the map, I really don't know. I mean, I'll just go to college, get a degree, and get a job, but I love making videos and I love like whenever I get discouraged or creatively like burdened, I just like think of all times that I came up with ideas like out of nowhere and all the times like I had a video that I thought was stupid do really well. And yeah, like anything can really happen at any time with videos, like good or bad. So I love like the creativity and uniqueness and you can truly like do anything. Like I've had some really crazy ideas and yeah, just I love like the creativity and like uniqueness that, every account has its own story and every video has its own story. So that's kind of what I like about videos.
Advice for people that want to start making content.
It's a good one. I saw that in your email. My advice is something that I didn't do when I started was like be my own person. I feel like I looked up to Evan Crone a lot when I first started, and I copied a lot of his videos, and then I realized like I thought about the future and I was like, if I want to build my own, image, my own brand, like I'm gonna have to start, doing like my own unique stuff. And like it sucked, but now I'm at this point where I kind of can put like my own unique touch on videos. And I feel like that would be my advice to younger creators is to do what you think is good. And if a video does bad, try to be like as brutal on yourself as possible. Cause I try to take the blame like for every video that goes bad because I feel like, if I'm not taking accountability, then like I'm not gonna change anything in my video. So like that kind of sucks, but you can't have a bad video and you look at the stats and if the stats are bad, you can't like blame that on, anyone else except for you. So I would say be creative. If you think a video is good, post it because when you're first starting to make videos, you never really know what's gonna do well. Like be brutally honest with yourself, like in a good way. And my third thing I would say is like trust the process. Like something I kept telling myself in August of 2023 was that like I knew I was gonna suck at it at the beginning, and I just knew, if I kept posting this much that eventually I would get good at it. And I think I've I've gained a lot of knowledge and I've got a lot better at it. So like it's true. If you do something over and over and over and over again and constantly change things, like you're gonna get better at it no matter what. As long as you care and be brutal on yourself, which kind of like isn't the nicest thing to say, but taking accountability is definitely like a big part in videos. Like I have some friends like in real life that something bad will happen and they'll just like blame it on something else. But like I said before, nothing's gonna change like if you don't change anything. So that's kind of what I try to look at with videos.
What advice do you have for people that are older than you in general?
Mm,
Life advice.
older than me?
Yeah, older than us.
Hmm. Let me think. I would say be yourself and like the right people will find you. Like some of my friends still like give me shit for videos, but it's all jokes and I know that they're friends and I know that they're cool. Um, but like don't really, people that have made fun of me and said stuff to me about my videos, like they don't know, how long I've been doing this and like my passion that I've had for this. Like even though it's kind of just like silly and dumb on the outside, like that's, the what I've created today is what I've wanted to create ever since I was in like fifth, sixth grade. And, I'm really proud of it and just do what you want to do and like the right people will find you. Like I've met so many cool creator friends that I never thought I was going to meet. And yeah, if you're one of my favorite quotes is like, well, not really a quote, just something I remind myself is that you're going to be so much happier like with people that like you for you than people that you're with and you're trying to be someone else just to fit in. Like it can be a lot happier when you're being your true self. Even if there's people that don't like you, there'll be people that appreciate you and for what you do.
Any advice for people younger than us? Or even our age?
I mean, also, I would say the same thing. And for people older, also, I'd say like it's never too late. Like I've seen creators blow up when they're like 30, 35. I've seen creators blow up at like 14. Like I'm mutuals with like a 14-year-old that has like 3 million followers on TikTok. And I would say like never compare yourself to other people because you can be just starting posting videos or just like anything in life. You can start anything and you can see the people ahead of you and you can be like, oh, why are they ahead of me? But maybe they've been putting in work for so much longer, or maybe they had an injury that they came back from. And like the only person that you can control like is yourself. And yeah, to not compare yourself to other people because they've been through things that you haven't seen and you've been through things that they haven't seen. So the only thing you can do is just try to be the best version of yourself and to compare yourself to you like a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, and yeah, instead of other people.
All right. I think that is a good place to end off.
Uh,
Yep. Okay. So, with that being said, any final words to the audience?
I did remember like when I lost my train of thought, I did remember something. I feel like a superstition of mine is superstition was the word that I couldn't think of, is like always incorporate like trends or like a current meme or something like in my videos. I feel like that's definitely a superstition and that I can always have videos, go viral off of current humor, but I always try to base my creative process off of like things going on again because that kind of gives me, a place to build off of. And it's kind of hard to just come up with ideas out of thin air. So I don't really know if that superstition's true, but I always try to like every day, like mix in like a current meme or like something into my videos. So yeah, that's what I forgot of earlier.
All right. I'm going to stop the recording and we'll talk after the show. All right. In three, two, wait, 3, 2,